239.9 is the maximum average it's picking up at the moment, milliwatts, which is actually 239,000 microwatts. And Australian building biology standards recommend under 10 in daylight areas and under, during the daytime, under 5 for sleep areas. So it's just absolutely off the charts. That's the peak. I'll turn off it now and we'll just watch it. It'll fluctuate. It's consistently in the hundreds. So I've got another meter here. This is a building biology standard gigahertz solutions meter. It goes up to 2.5 gigahertz. And you can see if I point it out to the ocean or something, I'm getting, let's have a look here, 2 to 3 milliwatts. When I point it round to the tower, it's going up 5, 7, 13, 18. This is a very directional. This is what we're getting directly off the tower. When it goes to 1, it means that we've maxed out. It won't actually, it's going higher than this will read. So that's the sound of pulse microwave coming from that tower. It's invisible, but it's interesting getting an auditory side of it. And standing here, we're being bombarded by this. Our cells are being bombarded.
What is it actually that's the major concern?
Basically, the telecommunications industry has been upping the power. It started off 3G or even before that at lower levels, and each jump we're being subjected to higher power, density per square meter of microwave radiation, pulse microwave radiation. That basically is like an experiment on humanity because we don't know the long-term effects of it. A little bit like the cigarette industry, they threw up a smoke stream with their studies, throwing out counter evidence. Someone would do a study saying smoking's harmful, then the cigarette industry would fund a study to throw doubt over the study. Exactly the same thing's happening now. The telecommunications industry is funding studies that throw doubt over the dangers of this, and yet there are tens of thousands of peer-reviewed studies showing that it actually has an effect on our cells. So it's a very concerning level, for anyone working here or spending a lot of time here. And it's all about whether it's ionizing, thermal, it's basically if it doesn't heat, as far as they're concerned, they're not even considering it as dangerous, even though there's thousands of studies showing it has an impact on human cells, animal, plant cells. Non-ionizing radiation affects the cells, so in many ways. And it's looking at studies done by the scientists at the Bioinitiative report show a definite biological effect from non-ionizing radiation from these technologies, pulse microwave coming from mobile phone towers, modems, DECT cordless phones, etc., all the wireless devices in our world. And they're taking that seriously. Our Panzer, unfortunately, has been infiltrated by industry. A bit like the pharmaceutical industry, there is a revolving door where industry insiders end up on the regulation boards, and so the standards get set extremely high so they can push through their technology unopposed. John Maish has written his PhD paper on the manipulation of standards within the radio frequency and radiation standards. It's called the Procrustean approach, and you can see it, his whole PhD is written on how insiders end up making the regulations and setting the standards for industry. So it's a huge conflict of interest. And the Australian government always defaults to our Panzer. If they're challenged on radiation levels, they say, well, if a Panzer say it's okay, then we say it's okay. So we've got a challenge there to get the standards changed. It's an interesting thing, people aren't dropping dead from this right now, and it's a little bit like, if we can't see any immediate signs of people getting sick, then it's okay to roll this technology out. But my concern is more that it's just undermining health on the long term. So we're getting still jumped down a little bit. Quite often the closer you get to a tower, the signal's going more over the head, but regardless it's still jumping up to 59 milliwatts, which is 59,000 microwatts. So we're much closer to the tower, so it's actually a bit lower than it was up at the beachfront. We're walking down Johnson Street. Industry really needs to prove that their technology is safe before they unleash it. we shouldn't have to prove it's dangerous. It just hasn't dropped really. We've just been in the thousands of microwatts. Okay, we just walked out in full view of a tower in Fletcher Street. We're getting pretty solid readings. I might crank up the directional one. So if I point it at the tower, the directional meter's going up to 18 milliwatts, which is 18,000 microwatts. And you can see we're going into the thousands.
So what would that mean for the general public then?
Well, look, it's not like people are going to drop dead from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But over time it can erode health, and there's studies showing that it does have a cellular effect, the pulse microwave.
Okay.
And some people are more vulnerable or susceptible than others, young children, mothers, pregnant mothers and things like that.
Oh, right.
The radiation can affect fertility.
So that is pretty high and it's pretty dangerous over time.
Over time. The thing is, there's a lot of denial about it. The industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry that's got a lot to lose. If, you know, it got shown to be dangerous, they'd lose trillions of dollars. So there's a massive amount of power behind this technology being rolled out and not being challenged or questioned. Probably what, 150, 200 meters away from the tower over there, times up to 200 milliwatts, which is 200,000 microwatts, which is massive amount of microwave radiation. It doesn't matter which way you look at it, the readings here are extremely high from both the directional meter or the ambient meter. So the readings we're getting here are also consistent with the tri-field meter that was used the other day, where the hotspots are getting similar readings. So we're going from up into the hundreds again of milliwatts, which is hundreds of thousands of microwatts. So I've been using 2 meters today. It's a gigahertz solutions meter, which is highly directional. It's an industry standard for building biology, made in Germany. It's basically a very accurate, highly directional meter. So they're both very useful in their own ways. This is very good for locating a source. I can pinpoint exactly where the frequency is coming from on this one here, the gigahertz. This one's very good for just getting a snapshot of what's in a space.